Audio Plugin Spring Cleaning Year 2020 Edition, right here on RealHomeRecording.com. Since the last time I was recording, I went through and removed a bunch of plugins that I just went through with their VST 2.4 versions, and I also found out the answer to these two questions, which is the plugins are installed, but the license is inactive. And here's all the ones I got rid of or updated. Yes, Front DAW is now in version 1.4, if you all didn't know that already. And Arturia's Software Center allowed me to pick exactly which platforms I wanted to install in. That's something that Waves Central does not allow. Shame on you, Waves, for forcing me to have all these extra plugins that I don't want to use. Loudness penalty was also updated. And for those wondering, as of this recording, LoudMax version 1.33 is the latest version. And if you want to remove the Waves Studio Rack, you need to do it under the uninstall applications portion of the settings menu in Waves Central. So I need to go through my VST3 plugins now and look at the ones that I haven't looked at yet, and then pick which ones I want to get rid of. Okay, I'm going to start with IK Multimedia Amplitube, and there's no way in heck I'm deleting this because it is my main guitar amp plugin. It has a lot of different models. I've been using Amplitube for, 12 years? Yeah, not version 4, obviously, but, a version of Amplitube. Not going anywhere. API 5500, this is actually the newest Waves plugin that I own. There we go, I got version 4. And, well, I've been told by a few people who own the real hardware, or I should say I've read their commentary, and apparently Waves did a very good job on this compressor, and it's kind of an underrated plugin. So I figured I'd buy it when it was on sale over, I believe I got this during Black Friday. Big Seal is the big brother, pun intended, to Seal, which I did indeed delete. It is a Focusrite 430 according to the unofficial Acoustica Audio Aqua plugins list. I actually just reviewed and did a tutorial for this plugin. It is Blue Cat Audio's AcuFiend. I still have a problem pronouncing that, but it creates fake but realistic sounding guitar feedback, and you could also put it on other tracks, but its intention is guitar tracks. And I liked it. It's staying in my plugins folder for sure. Next up is Blue Cat Axiom. This is basically my secondary choice from Amplitube. By the way, Blue Cat sends me licenses for all their plugins. I should disclose that. And that does not deter me from telling the truth about their plugins, which I don't think this is the best guitar amp simulator out there. I do believe it does very nice cleans and slight overdrives. For high gain, I prefer Neural DSP. I think that they are possibly the best high gain solution out there, along with Mercurial. But Blue Cat, I think it's basically a jack of all trades, but a master of none. The pedal effects I do like. I also like that this plugin comes with late replies, so it's not just for guitars. You can also, disable this, and then you can have a bunch of different effects that work with other things besides guitars. Axiom is a lot of plugins rolled into one, and I don't say that lightly. And one of my favorite things about this plugin is you can actually load any VST into any of these modules, including VST3 plugins. Really, really neat. Blue Cat Course, this is a freebie and a great sounding coursing plugin. Blue Cat Gain, although I do tend to use Air Windows Purist Gain, this is the cool one to use as well. And when I tested it out against Purist Gain, it actually sounded essentially the same, but with a better GUI. Hot Tuna is Blue Cat Audio's precision tuner, and by that I mean you can double click right here and type in a very precise frequency. And you can also make it bigger. So in case you were looking at this on a little laptop screen, you can make it as big as the screen. But yeah, this also is included with Axiom for no charge. Good on Blue Cat for doing that. And this plugin's actually very affordable, by the way. So even if you just buy it by itself, then it's not going to cost a lot of money. But I think it's more of like an Axiom add-on that they included for free. But, I guess they will sell a few copies of this, but it's definitely more of a Axiom thing. The one that was included with Axiom to begin with was very tiny, so this one is much more visually appealing. Speaking of late replies, here it is by itself. This is a delay plugin, and it sounds good. I definitely recommend trying it out if you need delay, although I do prefer Echo Boy. Sometimes late replies could give me more control, or maybe I'm going for a different flavor, and basically the one thing I really like about Blue Cat Audio is they give you a lot of presets with their plugins, so you can start off in an area that you like and then go from there. Finally, for the Blue Cat collection, we have Re-Guitar, which aims to transform the sound of one type of guitar pickups to another type. And I like this plugin. I did review it, and I thought that although I don't know what different pickups may sound like specifically, I do like how easy it was to modify the tone of the guitar. And if you were using this with the feedback plugin, you would put this before AcuFiend. Acoustica Audio Celestial. I talked about this plugin. I didn't review it or make a tutorial, but this is supposedly an SSL fusion, which is a master bus processing unit. I don't know if it specifically sounds like one of those. I do know that acoustic audio plugins tend to struggle when it comes to saturation, but the EQs that are on this plugin and the compressors should sound pretty darn good. And the fact that this plugin was given away for free for about 3 months, and then recently they added this mastering version, which apparently sounds better than the hardware that's based on. If keeping frequency response flat is your aim, then definitely use that module. And yeah, pretty cool stuff, right? Also has a little mid-side thingy going on. All right, Cola. Cola is a plugin that I tried out and wasn't really a fan of it. I think a lot of people do like it, but it's just not for me. I have enough equalizers as it is, and this one wasn't too special, I should say. But I will be deleting it for that reason, because I was just trying it out and I forgot to take it off. Choral Baxter. I believe this is still free. Acoustica Audio were very nice to offer it for free, because this is based off of the Dangerous Music Baxter equalizer. Or Bax. I think it's called just Bax, all right? But anyway, it's a Baxandal EQ, and it also has filters, and it sounds really good. Let me just tell you something. If you liked when I remastered the Linkin Park Hybrid Theory album, I used this plugin on a few of those tracks. Oh yes, I did. Crave EQ. I have been meaning to review this plugin because I kind of call it the poor man's FabFilter Pro Q, which also I call DDMF IIEQ Pro, the same thing, but this one has a very similar interface. I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but yeah. And on top of that, I've heard good things about it, but I have never tried it personally. Kuasa Effector Silencer, a noise gate plugin for guitars. I've never used it. I have other noise gates. So even though it's, I believe, free, I don't think I'm using a trial version, I'm going to have to delete it. Again, I'm not saying that these plugins are bad. It's just ones that I've installed and I've never used, so I don't see a reason to keep them. Haze 2 from Clevbrand. This was one of my favorite plugins of 2019. It does an excellent job of making a mono signal into a stereo signal. You know, it does a just killer job of doing that, and it maintains mono compatibility. So I was a big fan of this. The only problem I had with it is it doesn't have a resizable GUI, which means for me, if I ever bought a 4K monitor or a 1440p monitor, I'm going to have trouble looking at it. I'm already having trouble looking at it here on a 1080p monitor. So yeah, but besides that, just excellent plugin, and I can't say much more nice things about it. And I reviewed it, so if you want to check that out, I will post links to a lot of my plugins that I reviewed in the video description and maybe in the first comment as well. Hornet VU Meter Mark IV. Yes, indeed. I have been a user of VU Meter since Mark II, and it's a very affordable plugin. Basically, it allows you to get the tracks that may be too loud or too quiet to be approximately around the same level. Basically, this is the automatic gain staging plugin. It's a time saver. It's very cheap, especially when they have their sales, which are frequent, and the newest version can do that. So yeah, good times. You can also name your instances. So be sure to read the user manual before you mess with this plugin, though. And that's about it. iHeartNY. The plugin I hoped would be awesome because the people that made this were nice enough to send me a license, and I had very high hopes. The GUI is nice, but it just wasn't meant to be. A lot of other YouTubers did like this plugin. I was not one of them, and this was the first plugin from this company. And I just didn't think it offered anything new, and to me it didn't sound as good as other parallel compression plugins. So I will be removing it. I'm surprised I didn't get rid of it already. Oops, I didn't mean to show you this, but at least now you can see I just upgraded to this version tonight after I did part 1. So yeah, I now have the latest version of IIEQ Pro. It's the poor man's FabFilter Pro Q3, except it doesn't have dynamic equalization, but it does sound very good. And when I always call it that, actually it's more along the lines of FabFilter Pro Q2, but it has so many bands. It's a very versatile, clean plugin that I really don't have much more to say other than I'm glad I have it, and I use it quite often, especially as a filtering plugin, using their Butterworth filter. So it looks like if you install Waves IR1, you have to install IRL as well. So it is what it is. I'm going to have to just live with it, I guess. First world problems. Oops, I meant to keep this off screen. Isotope Insight. This came with version 7 of Ozone, and it's a cool little plugin. It has a bunch of different meters on it, a loudness meter, a phase correlation meter. I don't know what this is, but this looks cool too. But, you know, I do have this in other plugins, and I like it. I like Insight, but I'm going to be removing Ozone 7 now that I have Ozone 9. And yeah, so I'll put Ozone 7 on the to delete list, which is going to be a shame because I do have mixes with Ozone 7 on it. So recalling them is going to be a pain in the butt if I have to. But it is what it is. Speaking of Ozone 7, since I'm going to be removing it, I may as well have one last little memory of it in this video. It's done me well over the years. Thank you again to, I believe it's called Purple Storm Media. A very nice gentleman gifted Ozone 7 Advanced to me, and I definitely thank him. So yeah, here's all the different GUIs, or the GUIs, as the tech world says. When I say GUI, people are like, what does that mean? So I just say GUI. If I say GUI, it makes sense. If I say GUI, sounds a little weird too, K-meter! I forgot all about this plugin. This was like my main master bus meter for the longest time. And, can I change I can't change the skin. I thought maybe there was other skins included, but nope. So anyway, yeah, it's been such a long time since I've used this plugin. And as cool as it is, I do believe I downloaded it. Yeah, this is the 2019 version of this plugin. But I think I'm going to get rid of it. Cool plugin, but I'm going to have to get rid of it just because I just don't use it. Again, a lot of these plugins, they aren't bad plugins. I just don't use them because I may have replaced them with other programs, or I just don't use them for whatever other reason. Nor, definitely keeping this. This, to me, sounds better than Waves Renaissance Bass. It is the one that I recommend to pop bass, whether it's kick drums or bass guitar mainly, or bass synth. Use this plugin, and your bass will come through little speakers. It's a harmonics generator that works extremely well and is very easy to use. Once again, Clevgrand, great job. And I should mention, yes, Clevgrand sends me licenses. But, again, I really do remain as unbiased as I can be when it comes to reviewing plugins. You'll notice that I haven't reviewed all of Clevgrand's plugins. If I don't find them to be interesting enough, I just tend to say, well, thank you very much, and that's about it. But Clevgrand, they've been on a roll the past year with releasing cool plugins. So anyway, moving on. Magenta 5 from Acoustica Audio. I'll definitely not be deleting this because I use the EQ basically on every vocal when I'm mixing music, and also the mix bus. This sounds good on. The compressors, I've heard they're good. I don't tend to use them though, so I really should try them out one day, see how they sound. But I'm definitely a Magenta equalizer fan. And the preamps aren't so bad either, but realistically, I'm going for the EQs all day long. And, I just don't mess with the compressors. That's the truth. Audified Mix Checker Pro, I'll definitely be keeping this one because what it does is it allows you to listen to your mixes on simulated virtual speakers. So whether they be in AM radio, Yamaha NS10s, car speakers, and then you can also add noise. So here's the noise. I like the car one. If you can hear your music over the car interior noise, you've done a pretty darn good job. Voxengo MSED allows you to make a Sum and Difference plugin out of any plugin out there. I've used this one quite a number of times. It's a very useful plugin. I highly recommend it because it is free and awesome. VU Meter, actually this is called NV Meter from TB Pro Audio, a poor man's Klanghelm VUMT ripoff, let's just be honest. But yeah, cool plugin nonetheless, despite the people that don't like them because they ripped off Klanghelm. I mean, come on. But all that being said, hey, I saved some money. Eventually I will get the Klanghelm one, but while I wait, this is a decent substitute. I tend to only use this during recording though, and that's mainly to keep any musicians who might think that I'm recording too quietly at bay. Navy, compressors, equalizers, and channel strip, plus preamps, aka line level simulations and microphone preamp simulations, mix bus simulations. Acoustica Audio outdid themselves. This was one of their oldest plugins that I used after Magenta. Magenta's their oldest, and I believe Navy was the second one, or maybe it was actually, yeah, Navy might have been the third or fourth one. But anyway, Navy is a modern Neve, which I believe it's called a 2073 channel strip off the newer AMS Neve mixing boards. And I'm just really, really happy with the way this sounds. You have two equalizers, you have two compressors, and one of these days I'm going to compare this compressor to the one on Access Analog, because apparently I believe it's Comp 2 is a Neve 33609N, which is a stereo mix bus compressor. And yeah, who knows? It might sound good, it might not sound good. We'll see. Old School Verb, I keep this around because it is a zero latency reverb plugin. It doesn't sound that bad, and it's a freebie. So, why not keep it around, right? Ozone 9. I just reviewed this plugin and I'm still doing tutorials about them. Although not as many because people didn't like the videos. They weren't watching them. So I'm just going to do a few more. Anyway, that's besides the point. Ozone 9, very great suite of plugins. You get a lot of modules. I'm only going to show you one other one. And that is the low end focus, which is very useful, very easy to use. And I really can't say much more other than I really like this plugin, and especially the maximizer. iZotope also did an awesome job with their master rebalance. This is probably the biggest reason besides the maximizer to buy Ozone 9. It allows you to adjust the volume levels of vocals, bass, and drums inside of a 2-channel mix. And it does a really good job at it. Now, obviously, you can't expect it to work miracles, but it works really, really well. And I definitely used it on material where they no longer had the mix stems. Pawn Shop Compressor, or comp in this case, but it does mean compressor. This is one I'm going to be reviewing in the not too distant future. And the reason I want to check it out is because apparently, according to Cornif, this plugin can be used on essentially anything. If you click that, yeah, they have a bunch of different presets. Uh-oh. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I don't like their preset system, but at least this stays up so you can flip through it. And then, if you don't like the simple GUI, they give you even more options. I will say this, though. I don't like that the GUI is very small. It's hard to tell what different controls are right here. But, yeah, definitely read the user manual. I plan to. But, yeah. I like the name. I definitely like the name. Phoenix Verb. Oh, this is an old standby from Michael Carnes. He went to iZotope, so they own the company now. But I believe he still develops for them. And I do like that the resizable GUI is still intact. The proper one, where the lettering also gets bigger. And I believe this is the latest release. Cannot connect to determined version. Interesting. Absolutely one of my favorite reverb plugins. And I'm sure Nimbus is better. I downloaded the trial for Nimbus and I never actually got around to doing it. Phoenix Verb is a very nice reverb. And like I said, I really can't say enough good things about it. One of my top 3 favorite reverbs. Actually, I think this one is my favorite. But it's definitely in the top 3, if not top 2. One that I definitely recommend getting first before other reverb plugins. Free Fuzz. Oh, I have not really messed around with this plugin, but I can tell you that this company, it's free to download this. And apparently, it sounds really, really good. But I do have a lot of saturation plugins as it is. But I'm all about, trying different stuff if it works better. And then if it does work better, recommending it to you guys. So check this out. It's free. And if I remember to, I will link to it below. Acoustica Audio Pink. Acoustica Audio Pink. I love, 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 love this equalizer. It is one of the ones I recommend as a first-time purchase for new audio engineers. It is based on API 550A, 550B, 5500, and then I forget what, API 560, API 2500 compressor, API something else, an API clone, and yeah, amazing collection of plugins. This is a dynamic equalizer, by the way, I think. Multi-band, something like that. Anyway, so this one I love on the mix bus and on bass guitar, and it sounds pretty good on snare, depending on the snare, and also good on electric guitar. In general, Pink 3, if you're mixing rock music, you need this plugin. And I say that politely. You need this plugin. The equalizers are just second to none, and the preamps aren't too shabby either, but do you really need them? Oh, there's my list of preamps. I forgot I made this a while back. I might have to redo them because they had changed the way they were. And yeah, acoustic audio can be sneaky like that. But apparently what was happening is they had their saturation happening at 0 decibels full scale. And that's not how other plugins operate. Most of them operate around -20 to -12, just like Real Analog Gear does. But anyway, on to the next plugin, which is Prebox from Analog Obsession. Here's another one I have to update because it had a noise burst issue or a volume increase issue. But yeah, this is a freebie. You have to actually find a link to this. You have to search for it because it's not on their website the last time I checked. But yeah, this is interesting. I can't really say how realistic it is, but Analog Obsession has plugins that you should check out regardless. Hopefully they don't crash on your DAW. But if they do, obviously, hey, you didn't pay any money for them. So, it's no loss to you other than a few amounts of time. Pulsar Smasher. I can't remember if, I did slightly review this plugin, and it was free, or it is free. If it's not free anymore, then I don't know what to tell you, but basically it is a cleaner sounding 1176 all buttons in trick. And the trick is awesome. The trick sounds better than Slate Digital Monster in my opinion. So this is a plugin I will absolutely be keeping, not only because it sounds good, but look at that GUI. Look at that GUI. Oh my goodness gracious. And the light turns off when you hit bypass. Just like the real thing. Exponential Audio R2. Once again, I really do like these plugins. R2 is 4K screen compatible. It sounds very nice. And I also should mention that I got a license when this originally came out after I reviewed it. And I thank Michael Carnes again for that, because my vocal reverbs and other reverbs using either Phoenix or R2 just sound really, really high end. And just, I can't thank him enough. Because actually, when I reviewed it, this was still a small channel. But anyway, enough of that. R2 is a great plugin. R4 is probably better. But I believe you can still buy R2 at a discounted price. Rare from Analog Obsession. Here's another one that I have to update. Oh, they got oversampling. Nice. So obviously, if you don't know what this is, it is a Pultec equalizer clone. And I'm not sure how it sounds. And truth be told, with Access Analog, I now have the Warm Audio Pultec. So I might not reinstall this one, but I should delete it. Actually, I'll put that on the list. Not that it sounds bad. You know what? No, I'm going to shoot this out against the IK Multimedia one. That's what I'll do. Relay. So this, I believe, is like an in-between plugin for Isotope that came with Ozone 9. But I don't really know necessarily how it works and all that. But I will say this. If I could, I would delete it. But since I can't, I won't. Next up is the reverb plate from Arturia. This one was a freebie over Christmas/holidays. And once again, beautiful GUI, and the sound quality is great, and the sleeper part of this plugin is the drive, because you can actually disable the reverb and just use the tube saturation, and it sounds really good. All right, so this is one that Fuse Audio Labs actually, they emailed me, I forget why, but they emailed me and were like, hey Adam, have you checked out our free EQ? And also, I believe I don't know what the drive does. Obviously, it does some kind of saturation. I'm not sure what kind, but yes, this is Fuse Audio Labs. I believe they don't have that many equalizers out. And this one is free. I believe it's still free. And it's officially endorsed by the company that made it. I should have reviewed this plugin, but I just didn't. And I will be keeping it to check out at some point. Waves Renaissance Vox. This is a plugin that is just very easy to use. It sounds good. They've revamped the GUI. You still can't scale it, but they did revamp it for version 11. And very good. As old as this plugin is, it has stood the test of time. Abso-freaking-lutely. I just showed these on screen because, hey, why not? So this is RX6 from Isotope, and they have a de-reverb plugin, which, if you think about it, what does that mean? It means that it reduces the reverb from an audio file. I might actually try this out. I just did an event, and there was some, obviously, reverb in the room. We'll see. Spectral denoise. This is what I typically will use on voiceovers that were recorded with bad preamps. It works really well. I also use this during the summer when I have to have the air conditioner on in Studio A on the very, very hot days. Luckily, there weren't that many last year, so I could turn the AC off, record about 10 minutes, and then turn the AC on again, wait until the room got cool, and then turn it off, and just so I don't have to use this plugin. But if I absolutely do, then I use it, but I'll typically use it in the standalone application. Definitely not getting rid of RX. RX is essential to my audio productions. Absolutely. Acoustica Audio Sand 3, this is their collection of solid-state logic equalizers and compressors. Unofficially, I might add, but come on, we know. To me, it's a must-have plugin. You combine this with Pink, and you basically have all the EQ that you need, except maybe dynamic equalization, and in that case, FabFilter Pro Q3, or Waves F6, or TDR Nova, but as far as static equalizers, Pink and Sand are an awesome combo. The only other combo I would recommend is Acoustica Audio Gold and Sand. Those two together are also really, really nice. But anyway, on to the next plugins. I'm definitely not deleting Sand, that's for sure. Satin from Yuhi. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, Yuhi makes a very, very good tape machine emulation. Satin is definitely one of the industry standards, in my opinion. It's very versatile. It has delay. It has a service menu. It has different tape types. It has different tape speeds. It's just overall an awesome plugin. However, I already own Slate VTM. I have access to 2 tape machines virtually over the internet. I also have other tape saturation plugins. And on top of that, IK Multimedia released theirs last year, and I was very happy with them. That was one of the reviews I did last year. I didn't review that many plugins last year. That was one of them because I was very impressed with how IK's compared to the real tape machines. Okay? Satin, awesome plugin, but I'm going to have to delete it. Simple as that. Smart Comp, I was sent a not for resale license to check this out, and I have talked about this plugin before, but I have not reviewed it yet. I will say this, I do recommend getting it. It is definitely one of the best plugins of 2019, and I say that because basically the way I like to use this plugin is after other compressors have done their job, but they still are not good enough for, the final mix. So this plugin is very easy to use. You pick from the presets. If your instrument is not in the presets, pick standard and go to town. Like I said, this plugin sounds incredibly good. Make sure that this option's on spectral compression because this is what this plugin's all about. And it has a resizable GUI, as you just saw me making it bigger. And it explains what you need to do. I love tooltips that are detailed, so you don't have to read the manual. I like reading manuals, but, in case you don't want to pop it open, it's right there. Otherwise, you can bring the manual up and show tutorial. That's right, they do have a tutorial on this plugin. So anyway, I do recommend checking this plugin out, and if you like it as much as I do, buy it. Because great plugins never get old. If you use hardware, Snapshot allows you to save the settings. Snapshot allows you to insert a photograph that I assume you take with a digital camera, aka your cell phone, and you can put it right in a plugin so you can see what the settings were if you had to recall a mix, or if you're curious and you are a very heavily document-friendly person when you record, you could also do that as well if you really care to. Now, obviously, you could just save pictures, put them in the folder that you record it with or you mix with. This plugin kind of just makes that a little fancier. It's also a free plugin, so, even if you don't like the idea of it, check it out. You might like it. And definitely make usage of the notes section. Voxengo Span is probably the reason that I didn't want to keep Freak Analyst, because although Freak Analyst has the multi-track function, this one, to me, is visually more appealing. And even though I have different spectrum analyzers, Span, just out of the box, is cool. It just, to me, it feels right. And actually, the color scheme I went with is not the default. If you're wondering how I did that, then yeah, you basically just... Actually, it's not in here. Where the heck is it? I thought it was... Oh, here it is, I think. Nope. Oh, here it is, UI colors. So that's the default. Not a fan of it. Switched it to good old black. And yeah, you can make it bigger if you need to. So anyway, that's Span. Next, this is the delay plugin from Voxengo. And as you can see, it has 0 latency. So I keep it around, and while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add it to my folder for recording. Acoustica Bass Tard. And I know I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but if I say the real word, then the powers that be may not like this video. So this is a cool freebie from Acoustica Audio, and I believe it's still free. It allows you to do the low-end Pultec trick, where you choose the frequency, usually 60, and then you cut and boost at the same time, typically a kick drum. It might work on bass guitar as well, but kick drum is the Pultec trick. And even though this is not based on a Pultec equalizer, it's based on a piece of hardware that aims to be like a better Pultec. So it's actually based off of a TubeTech PE1C, which is a close to $3,000 program equalizer. So I say, check it out. It's free. If you don't like it, then delete it. But I like it, so it's staying in my plugin folder. Total Balance Control. The Townsend Labs Sphere plugin is something that you use with the Townsend Labs microphone. And although I don't have the Townsend Labs microphone, they do have files available for people to download to check out how this thing works. So I had the plugin because I was showing it off to everybody. I don't know how to... Okay, there we go. So here's all the different microphone types you can use. And supposedly, this one sounds better than the one from Slate Digital. All right? I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But what I'm going to do is download those files off the Townsend Labs website and see if this thing is good or not. So this is T-Rax 5. And I believe... Yeah, so the plugins that I don't have are slightly dimmed. The ones that I do have, you can drag and drop. I haven't used the suite in a long time because I usually use these individually. But the nice thing is they actually allowed you to resize the plugin. This is a recent addition, by the way. You couldn't do that last month until they released their Sunset Sound Studio reverb. So thank you, IK Multimedia, for giving the masses GUI scaling. But I like my different T-Rax plugins. Not all of them, mind you. IK Multimedia, I think they make good plugins. I think because of the way that their plugins used to look with the whole dinosaur thing, which I believe actually is still somewhere on the plugin. There it is. So they used to have a very obnoxious looking T-Rex logo. And a lot of people did not buy their plugins simply for that, which I think is ridiculous, but that's how people are. And that's about it for that, right? So anyway, I like their plugins. I think they sound good. I've used them on different mixes over the years. I particularly like this one. I've used this on a lot of different masters. It also sounds good on vocals. It has the ability to make cuts without completely ruining the audio. I think I have every single one of their API equalizers. Can you tell I like API equalizers? I think this is like the third different plugin company that I've had on here. And when these originally came out, they actually looked a lot closer to their real hardware. But they quickly changed that when a cease and desist letter, I believe, they got from API. All right, so I was concerned that this was going to crash my computer. Maybe the surround sound version does. But this one is cool because basically what you do is you set it so that your peak is the yellow at the top here. And if you guys know me, I like to peak no higher than -10. So Martin Zuther, M. Zuther, whatever you want to call him, he made this gain staging plugin, which a lot of people may not know about, called Track Meter. And I'm going to try to load the surround sound version, but it'll probably crash my computer. But anyway, very cool when it works. And you can even, wow, -20. I don't know anybody that records that low. So, -15, that's a little on the low end. I really think -10 peaking is good. All right, we're getting close to the finish line here. Kazrog True Iron. I finally bought this in December. It is a saturation plugin. It is all about the transformers, and it just sounds good. Definitely keeping this one, no doubt about it. This one I'm considering deleting, but a lot of people say this is a very good tube saturation plugin. And although the GUI looks a little outdated, because back when it was released, they didn't make any compromises on the audio quality, it never got outdated. So that's the one thing that I'm torn on, and I don't know if I really want to delete this plugin because of that reason. Fear of missing out. But, speaking of tubes, here we have Fuse Audio Labs tube limiter / compressor. I can't remember what hardware this is based off of, but I reviewed this plugin. I liked it, but I don't think I'm going to use it on a mix just because I have so many other good compressors that, this is kind of just like, it's cool, but it's kind of like I don't know. To me, this one's tough, but I'm going to have to go with delete because I haven't deleted one in a while, and I don't know. Vocal Doubler from Isotope. This was a freebie, and this is another one where I don't know if I want to delete it or not. I'm going to keep it for now. Vocal King. This is now free, and I definitely recommend checking it out because it did make my vocals sound better. And since it's free now, you can see if it makes yours sound better too. All right, here's another one from Fuse, but I will not be deleting these because I have definitely used them on mixes. They sound good, and that's that. Finally, at least for the VST3s, I think I might show you my virtual instruments, Julian Loudness Meter 2 Pro. This plugin has seen so many feature additions. They have added presets. Look at this giant list. When I first reviewed this plugin, it was not this big. And development continues on it. It just keeps getting better. I love it. And I forgot to mention, I was sent a license to check this out. I will be reviewing the newer version, which I don't know if this is the newest version or not. I'm going to write that down so I can have the latest version when I review it. They do have a free version. It doesn't have as many features, but it gives you a taste of what this plugin can do. And I have used this every mix since I got it because I need to know how loud my audio is. Loudness is such a big concern when it comes to mixing that it just doesn't make sense not to have this on. And it just works extremely well. It's a very affordable plugin, and I can't praise it enough. Okay, here are my virtual instruments. I think these are all of them. I'll double check. But anyway, I don't own all these. Some of these were trials, and I didn't delete them. But DropX, I did get sent a license for. But Beat Skills, I don't think ever released an update. Let me check. They may have, and if they did and it fixed the problem that I had with this, or maybe if Reaper fixed the problem. But anyway, I'm going to check it out again. DropX is extremely easy to use. All right, I just reinstalled DropX to see if maybe they updated it, and the answer is no. So I will still not review this plugin. And in fact, I'm going to write on here to delete it. So Beat Skills, if you happen to see this video, then, you know, I can't review a product that doesn't work properly. Anyway, Contact Player, I will keep this, and this I'll keep as well. If you guys remember, I talked about the website Remix Hits, and I do have to uninstall No Scrubs, so I'll write that one down. Sound Magic Neo Piano, I like this. Anyway, I will not be deleting this because I do like the pianos in this. This is the original Neo Piano. Perfect Drums, cool. Not deleting this one either. Piano 1, I believe this, I think this was the original one that, yeah, I think this was actually what happened before Neo Piano. It was indeed. Not going to get rid of this one either. I don't even know what this is. It's one of the Reaper plugins. Sampomatic. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to use these, and I don't know what this one is either. They might be good, but yeah. Anyway, Sample Tank, I will probably keep this. Anyway, next plugin, since I'm going to keep Sample Tank, Slate Digital Drums, the free one. I mean, I have Perfect Drums, and they sound really good, but this one's slightly different. So I think I'm just going to keep it because why get rid of it, I guess. Final thing is Centronic, the free version. I'm going to keep it. Oh yes, I'm going to keep it because one day I'm going to be a beat maker and make $1 million, everybody, from the free version of every single plugin out there. Anyway, I've been recording this video too long. Raw, it's over 2 hours, and I'm exhausted from talking. I hope you guys enjoyed this a little bit and got to learn about some new plugins that I've never talked about, but I had hoped to talk about at some point. So eventually I might. And if I don't, then oh well. If I do, then you'll see those videos. But yeah, I think I did pretty good on this cleanup. I could have deleted a few more plugins, but whatever. This has been Adam for RealHomeRecording.com.